Dr. Chaturvedi, distinguished colleagues on the dais and colleagues in the audience. It's my pleasure to be with you today. In addition to being a founding member of the institution that I lead, a group of institutions that I lead, I've also been a professor, and I take great pride into being a professor. And I have my colleague here from XLRI. I used to be a professor in XLRI for several years. And a couple of issues which I think to me as a founder, as we set up the institution and carry it forward in the future, that mattered to me most, and which did mean competitive quality. It did mean not just quality, competitive quality. Must set a benchmark for your competition, competitive quality in terms of at the user end. See, the quality is not just my understanding. The quality has to be a user end quality. To me, a business school education is no different from running a factory, or I draw inspiration from medical sciences, medical education, and I also draw inferences from, I had been very fortunate that, on the research side, I published in journals like Human Relations, Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, and so on. And on the other side, I had been active consultant with more than 80 companies in India and some of them outside India. So to me, if the building design or the manufacturing process design is linked to the end product, then my curriculum design must be linked to the end product. I will go back to a few things that we have commonly talked about, like infrastructure. I really do not want to talk about it because in last few years, I think it has been largely addressed a big time. And you just heard the ICT chairman talking about it, and I think we need not overdo it either. Okay, I mean, it is largely addressed. I think the second important issue, which is program and the value delivery, that's a key factor to me. That's a very, very fundamental factor. Like I said, I draw my inspiration from industry itself. So when I look at quality, I look at the manufacturing process and how you meet the specs. When I look at the comparability of business organization, then I look at a bank where money is in, money is out. Okay, there's only a value transformation, where here you have a student in and your student out. What happens here is a value transformation. Okay, now, so value delivery, value transformation is an important issue. And of course, I would always like to think growing cost of education, management education. I'm a very conscientious person. So when we look at that industry challenges, and we talk quite a lot about industry challenges. Personally, I do not feel the challenges are so big on the industry side. Challenges are biggest at our value conceptualization side, our own side. Results count, it's technology driven. Somebody was talking about lifetime learning. Except for personal transformation, any learning will be obsolete. Any learning, any knowledge is going to be obsolete. So, I can teach somebody knowledge issues today and hope that this will serve that person for 20 years. Maybe very fundamentals like definition of cost, which might remain cost plus for all time to come. But with the changes in knowledge, I think we will have to teach them more how to learn. That's a bigger learning than just knowledge. Technology driven, I do not want to talk too much of technology because I know everybody talks about technology. Okay, so I do not see if I get into that queue, I had any value there. Okay, I mean, I saw a nice presentation some time back which was on a link to technology and issues like that. However, while the technology marketing folks have marketed it well, we should understand the voluntarism involved in technology-based learning. Okay, the end result of the technology-based learning, means if you assess globally, is not as high as the marketing guys, those who market technology talk about. Okay, talent matters. I think the fundamental meaning of education is talent development. So I would here like to look at this a little later. Millennial student, like industry, has learned to deal with millennials. Like as educational institution, we should also learn to deal with millennials, rather than being resentful about it. I mean, if we need to make changes in the processes, systems, or methods, or relationships, we must make changes. The technology, of course, Dr. Sahasrabudhe also talked so much about it, so I'm going to skip it. Okay. I would like to emphasize this. I think the people transformation, which is largely impactful for a long time, very impactful for a long time. One important thing I feel is for us to get a little more conscientious about very high cost of education. For several who borrow from to study, their homes will be sold off if there is no value delivery to them. If there is no value delivery to them, their homes will be sold off. Now, when we look at value delivery, we must understand that any professional when he enters, anyone who enters professional education, enters the professional education to be part of the profession. So as a doctor wants to be a surgeon, so when he does surgery, and a technologist wants to be a technologist, and so is a MBA. Okay, they want to a professional entry, and then grow in that profession, capability to grow in that profession. Now, careers over 5, 7, 10 years, the capability of these careers, and I would always look at the career entry and career capability both in terms of economic value return to my student, When you look at, because I feel that if it's a mere degree, and I have to say that, look, I have given you a certificate, which should be good enough for you. Then it's too expensive a degree. Okay, so I would really like to look at how value gets created. Now, in value issue, two things matter. One is the raw material, like in industry. The quality of machining, if you are doing a mechanical operation, the quality of machining specification is dependent on what you want, and the quality of machining, the quality of processing is also dependent on the material that you have. So I'm quite against so much of standardization, especially in terms of the process. I really do not know how it will serve anybody. Okay.
2 minutes more.
Maybe regulators have that's a way to control, but I do not think it delivers any value. So what degree of machining I want to do, or let's say if you are doing a structural, architect doing a structural building, the specifications of the structure have to come from the structure that you want. It can't be a standardized procedure. So one has to look at value delivery in terms of freedom. Of course, academic learnings I do not want to talk about, but aligning value system. I always wonder that, look, if I want to learn swimming, and my value system does not permit me to wear the swimming dress, how do I learn swimming? Can I ever expect to be a proficient swimmer? So a value system transformation, aligning it with professional choices, very, very important to my mind. Of course, personal barriers, a lot of time that get created. See, our social upbringing has a lot of protocol specification. Whether that they learn from childhood, whether those specifications of protocol fit their career preferences or not, that's something that should be looked into. And my final point is leadership and faculty challenges. I want to say, look, leadership must look into the future and must always look into the future. You know, we introduced way back in 2000, out-of-class learning. Because I have been a student of psychology in my early days, and a lot of value system which is learned. It is not taught. It is learned through my day-to-day living and my day-to-day do's and don'ts. So when we brought in huge amount of social re-engineering, lifestyle re-engineering. Re-engineer the lifestyle of a student. He or she will automatically pick up those values that are more relevant. We always say, break free, rethink your value system. Is highly emphasized, and of course, the faculty, I think, must go from a teaching role, to being a scholarly professor who takes pride in himself and wants to create a lot of things, I do not need to learn everything from everybody else. There are many things that I can create. After all, the person who I am learning from is also faculty.
Thank you, sir.
So I must learn to create. We do a lot of innovation. So I would like to say that to the faculty, and finally to our regulators, that look, you can't control everything. You can never achieve it. You cannot have that one guy makes a mistake, you strangulate the entire system. You cannot do this. So that must be reviewed. The process freedom must be looked into. Thank you very much.
Thank you.